Congressman Mo Brooks of Alabama, a Republican from Alabama. Did you do any booing tonight? Because I understand your team lost, but there really are no losers tonight. So I'm going to congratulate you anyway, especially with this air, this new air, let's hope it lasts, of bipartisanship.
Well, thank you. I'm disappointed. The Republicans and the Democrats, as you can imagine, are quite competitive not only in politics, but also in the baseball field. And today we took a licking. Cedric Richmond, their pitcher, was spot on. We were a little bit flat, and thus a relatively lopsided score.
Yeah. So tell us what happened to the winning trophy.
Well, the winning trophy goes to the Democrats. Thank you for reminding me of that. And they get to hold on to it for a year. On a happier note, we did have about 25,000 tickets that were sold, a crowd of similar size. That beats all past records for this charitable baseball game that the United States Congress puts on. And that was very heartwarming for us, of course, to see David Bailey there. I don't know if you were watching the beginning of the game, but when the players and the lineups were introduced, we stretched from first base to third base, and we alternated Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat. And I saw David Bailey over in foul territory near the third base dugout, and the emotions compelled me to go over there. I talked to him. I thanked him. I gave him a hug. I don't normally do that, but under those circumstances, it was wonderful to see him and to be in a position to let him know how much I appreciated what he did. I don't know if you know, Don, but yesterday I was in the dugout and I started hearing gunfire above and behind me, and I was immediately concerned that we might have a second shooter, another adversary to worry about. And at the same time I was doing that, trying to figure out what the proper response would be. But when I looked up, it was one of our guys, a good guy. And that gave us renewed hope that we would be able to come out of this situation. And then for David Bailey to do what he did, to put his life at risk in order to minimize the loss of life that there otherwise uncertainly would have been for a number of United States congressmen, staffers, and even a 10-year-old boy. I wanted him to know that we were as appreciative as we could possibly be, that we love him, and we hope that he gets better. But in our eyes, he showed tremendous courage. He's a hero.
Yeah, he's out of the hospital, obviously throwing the first pitch. Crystal Griner is still in the hospital tonight, and the President and the First Lady did visit her and her wife in the hospital last night. But speaking as you are now, let me ask you about, do you think that tonight's moment of unity between Democrats and Republicans will continue? And what do you say to those who are already engaging in the partisan finger-pointing about the shooting?
Well, I hope what will happen is that the general public will understand that, in a way, we lead dual lives. When we're in the political arena, and if anyone's ever played sports, when you're in a sports arena, you're a fierce competitor. If you ever play a pickup basketball game, a buddy of yours might get picked for the other team. When you're on that basketball court, you might jostle a few ribs with your elbows, and you're going to compete as best you can to be able to win. But once you get off the House floor, once you get off the Senate floor, once you get off that basketball court, you can still interact with each other in a social environment and call the person who you compete against on that basketball court or on the House floor a friend. And I hope tonight was the message to the American people that it's fine to have this kind of political discourse. That's what a republic is all about. And to have it in an election setting is fine, to have it in a campaign setting is fine. But outside of that particular arena, these are our friends. These are our fellow Americans, and we're all in this together. America is either going to sink or it's going to rise together, and that's important to keep in mind. And to have 25,000 people show up tonight, that was the message from this ballpark to the American people.
Yeah. Congressman Mo Brooks of the great state of Alabama, of which I used to be a resident down in Birmingham, WBRC. Thank you so much, sir. Well, I'm an LSU Tiger, so we won't go that far. Go Tigers!
I wore your hat a little bit today, but that was only temporary.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And you know, just to say, I need to get to Sanjay, but I want to show a wide shot of our panel here, because the same thing sort of happens because we have this political talk on television. And as you can probably remember, last week I tweeted out a picture of all of us in the green room, and we were all talking, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, you get along!" And there were some harsh words saying. said they don't realize that sometimes we go out for a beer after this. Republican, Democrat, or whatever you want, we all actually get along. We may disagree on television, but nobody hates each other on these panels.
You can disagree without being
that far.
Yeah, well, Ryan and I are. Yeah. But you can look at the phrase "disagree without being disagreeable" used to be a thing that, like, we taught our kids, we talked about.
Yeah.
The congressman makes the right point, which is it's fine to disagree. We have two parties for a reason.
Right.
Brian and Amanda don't see things always the exact same way. That's fine. It doesn't mean that one of them is a terrible person and one of them is a good person. Yeah. That's where we get into trouble.
Yeah, but I tell you who I always agree with, and that's Sanjay Gupta, because he's the man and he knows everything.